There was a twist, and I just saw from those little things you look at on the sideline, pictures, it was a looper, and we just made an error. To know exactly what happened, I do, but I don't want to say anything until I know exactly what happened.
Urban, how out of sync is the offense right now?
I'm sorry?
How out of sync is your offense right now between drop passes and penalties and pressure at inopportune times?
Yeah, that was awful. The first half, accumulation of errors, but they responded. They came back. A defense, the one thing about that locker room, man, they fight for each other. They care about each other, and but I saw what you saw. Out of sync is probably not a strong enough word or description of an offense. But then second half, you came down with the ball in your hand and a chance to go win it. So I'd rather focus on getting things fixed, but also focus on the relationship in the locker room we're dealing with right now.
You get the sense that because of some of that, Trevor might not trust everything he's seeing. Is he not playing great football right now?
I think it's, I think the transition from college to pro, I've heard that, from some players I've coached and from other guys, but you'll continue to hear this as long as I'm around, and that is that when a quarterback plays great, everyone else around him plays great. When a quarterback really struggles, you can find it everywhere. 3 holding penalties, or a position had 3 or 4 penalties. What is that? That's not the quarterback, but it's cumulative, and he's the quarterback. So when an offense is playing great, it's because their quarterback and everyone around them playing great. When they struggle, it's everybody around them as well.
How confident were you once you picked up the first down on the drive that, hey, we got something going here? And did you have strong belief that, hey, this was going to be Trevor's first real fourth quarter moment?
Yeah, he did it in London. That was a fourth quarter moment. But
this was a length of the field.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we practice hard, and you see it in practice. If you didn't see it in practice, then there'd be zero confidence. But I'd be shocked if you had interviewed anybody on the sideline that said we're going to get on and win this game, even when we didn't perform well in the first half. I think the wideouts and everybody felt we're going to go down and win that game.
Coach, what does it feel? You're almost there. You're almost close. You almost win this game, Coach, and not, unable to get over the barrier again.
Well, I just said on the radio that, culturally, I'm a big believer in culture. I'm a big believer in leadership. I always have been. Alignment, everybody working together, and enough with the almost. When we figure that out, that's when you win. And I like what was said. I didn't say much after the game. Some players did, and we'll see how we show up next week against San Francisco in front of our home crowd. But I hate to say this because I usually try not to when you lose, but that was that second half. Boy, they on the road against a very good team. They played their tails off, man. And it wasn't pretty, but they could have sucked their thumb and left after the second quarter, like you see some teams do. They didn't do that. So I hate to use the word proud, but I am.
You feel your defense is where it needs to be at?
Yeah, they're last since. It was awful in the first drive. They were gashing us in the stretch play, and Taylor had some nice runs. Carson made some plays. But I'm telling you, you guys saw what I saw the second half. We were getting the ball, and then the most disappointing part of the whole day was, to me, when our defense, the whole thing, the plan to win, and that field position chart we live by, we were living by it exactly the right. We were punting the ball down in there, holding them, getting the ball back at about the 40-yard line, and we didn't do anything with it. And that's a problem.
Urban, do you worry at any point that, it's been like 3 weeks where you've had a lot of the same issues, that is honestly who you are at this point with the offensive personnel?
No, because I've seen when we play at a high level, and I just have a stronger belief that we're fragile. You can't make a mistake. But I'm not sure who in the NFL can. Every week I watch, I'm amazed at some of the scores. And 17-0, and I don't want to say I was having positive thoughts at that moment, and then sure enough they come roaring back, and the sideline was phenomenal. Miles Jack was out of his mind and playing like it, and so did Josh Allen, and so did Malcolm Brown, and so did Ray J. But no, we're not just saying that's what we are, because I don't believe that's who we are.
What changed against Taylor?
I'm sorry?
What changed against Jonathan Taylor after the first quarter?
You have to ask Joe when you talk to him, but I just think we tackle better. We weren't knocked out of gaps, but I'd be remiss if I can't give you that answer. I will later on.
Urban, there's going to be a lot going on for Trevor as he makes this adjustment. Do you at all concern yourself with his psyche and a play like that, how the game ends, losing 3 in a row?
Of course I do. Yeah, of course I do. I grabbed him, and I think our whole team does. I mean, I think he's second or third most votes. I told you about captain. They love him. You name a guy that works harder, and we pick each other up. So it's kind of neat to see what happened in there afterwards. Yeah, heck yeah, I'm worried about that. He's got a lot on his shoulders right now, and that's why everybody around him has got to play. You know what? Play a little better. All of us. Coach a little better. All of us.
You know, guys he was gonna have to go through all this stuff, to experience all the highs and the lows. So how hard is it for you to kind of get him through it? Because I'm assuming you want to accelerate as much as possible.
You know, it's not a cookie cutter. That's not a cookie cutter question. You know, it depends on who it is. The one thing about Trevor is, this one stung. I could tell. This one stung. This one hurt him, and that's what's my responsibility, our coaching staff, and the rest of the team. Pick each other up, man. It's got to go. You know, there's going to be critics. There's going to be this, but that's fine. Let's go out and beat San Francisco. We're going to get the ball in your hand again with a chance to go win the game. We're going to go do it this time. That's why we're going to take it.
When you say it's stung, is that because he blames himself? Because he's just the type of guy to take responsibility? No, he had the ball in his hand to go win a game. You know, and we did in London. And he threw one of the most beautiful plays, you know, of the year. You know, to knock that ball down or to get the ball down and kick a field goal to win. And we practiced it, and so yeah, I just saw, you know, not when I say he was stung, a lot of guys were stung in there because we felt like we could go down and win the game on the road against a good team when you're 17-0 and looking bad. Thanks,
Thanks, guys.